Jane.
And I'm Jen.
And we're SpielMill.
And welcome to May.
Yeah, May! Woo!
Woo!
So this is our monthly theme video where we pick 3 themes that fit with the month, and we come up with a set of games that would make for your quote-unquote perfect game day.
Yep, absolutely. And May, we had some input from some of our viewers. Jimmy, thank you, Jimmy. Keep the ideas coming.
And he's got good ones, so you'll see his creative one for this month.
Yes, absolutely. I love it. And then we picked some that we just also really liked. So
just appealed to us.
Yeah.
So we're going to start out with chronologically the one that starts at the beginning of May.
And also one of my favorites.
May Day or Beltane.
Yes.
Both which follow May 1st.
Yep. I love this holiday because it is a coincidence of a lot of various sort of like pagan or like agricultural cycle rituals that happen around the world. May 1st and around this time, a lot of those are celebrated. Beltane is, of course, the Scottish, Celtic one, and Irish one, and May Day has a more, I guess, Northern European flavor, and also has come to mean a lot in the labor movement as a sort of workers' holiday and a people power holiday. So, yeah, so I love this for both reasons. It's, to me, one of my favorite holidays, and so let's get started. Do you want to give us our first game?
Well, the first game we thought of, and we thought of May Day in particular, was Block by Block. And Block by Block is basically a protest game. You're playing people protesting against the globalist corporate influence, and you got bands of students, you got bands of union activists, you got bands of whatever.
Prisoners.
And you're blocking the streets, protesting, trying to fight the police and stuff like that. It's really... you know, in the here and now.
Yeah, it really is. This one doesn't seem to go out of relevance, unfortunately. No. But yeah, that's a great one. And then in a similar vein, one that we haven't played, it's on our shelf of opportunity, is Strike. And that just came out. And of course, May Day, there's often general strikes on May Day and other activities to call attention to, you know, the working class.
Yeah, and Strike is from the Toolbox for Social Education and Action. Is that right?
Tesla. No, not Tesla.
Tesla.
Toolbox for Education and Social Activism.
Yeah. Is that what I just said? Or is it different?
I think maybe flip them.
Well, anyway, they're the ones that came up with Strike, and they make a bunch of educational games about political action and, you know, changing the world.
Yeah. Space Cats Fights Fascism would have been good for today, too, but we didn't pick it.
Space Cats Against Fight Fascism is great.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So that is our second game, is Strike. And next.
Our third game is a little bit more of a lean into Beltane, and that is Bonfire from Stefan Feld. Thematically, this game is, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it fits in with the whole sort of pagan rites.
Oh, totally. It's set in some sort of like mythical setting, but it really is drawing on those pagan traditions of bonfires and, you know, spirits and things like that.
Right.
Yeah. Following that, another game that pulls on that Celtic tradition is Living Forest. You've got fires, you've got forest spirits. It's really fun. I've been playing this a lot on BGA right now, and it's a great game to sort of evocative of that theme that Beltane is celebrating.
Yep, and then our last game for this grandiose day of May Day Beltane is Runestones from Rudiger Dorn, and this is a really kind of fun game. Well, not kind of fun, it is fun. A fun game focusing on sort of Druidism and stuff like that. So it fits in with that Beltane theme.
Yeah. So what would you guys pick for Beltane and or May Day? Your either people power or Druid, Celtic, runic, pagan rituals.
Let us know.
Yeah. All right, so our next holiday is one from our list of weird made-up holidays, and May is National Bike Safety Month, which actually makes sense because a lot of people are getting out on their bikes. It's much more, the weather's great, and wear a helmet, people. Definitely wear a helmet and follow bike safety, and if you're a driver, please be aware of bikes and be kind.
Yes.
Editorial over.
So, what's the first game that we picked for our big bike day?
So the first game is classic, like the most bikiest game of all, I think, and that is Flamme Rouge, where you are racing your bikes around the track, and it's the Tour de France, and you know, it's heat pedal to the metal, which a lot of folks have been talking about this year, is the next iteration of this game. But honestly, we love the bike theme much more. So Flamme Rouge, we love this game. It's one of the few racing games that we really have that regularly hit the table, and it's perfect for National Bike Safety Month. Another sort of racing game to sort of continue in that vein, that features bikes, but not solely bikes, is Belgian Beers Race. And here you're traveling around Belgium, going from brewery to brewery, and biking is one of the main modes of transportation that you can use. Because you don't want to get in a car after you've been traveling to breweries. You probably should be thoughtful about getting on a bike too, but at least you're only going to kill yourself and not somebody else. So that's the second pick is Belgian Beers Race. What a great game. Yeah. Next is sort of an out-of-the-box pick. It's Redwood. This game was super popular on the sort of favorites from 2023. We just tabled it, and we'll talk about that in one of our upcoming videos. But one of the expansions has a bike in it, and you can actually ride from trailhead to trailhead on your bike. And it's a really cool sort of twist on how you move in that game, and really thematic. And really, it looks really cool too. It's got a canoe too. Yeah, it does. That game is fantastic. Yeah, it's a great game. Watch for our video coming up on our Shelf of Shameful Opportunity. That'll be out later this week. So the other game that came to our attention, which we haven't played yet, but we do own because I had to buy it because I love bikes and I love sort of 80s themed theme is the Snallygaster situation, Kids on Bikes. And it's basically a bunch of kids on bikes solving mysteries and such. Yeah, riding around like they're, oh, what was that TV show that was out recently that we watched? It was the kids that got, Stranger Things? No, that got transported in time. Oh, I don't remember what it's called. I know what you're talking about though. But they were on bikes too, I think. Newspaper Girls, or I don't know. Paper Girls. Paper Girls, yeah. I think that's based on a graphic novel. So good. Similarly, Stranger Things, the game. Now, we haven't played this. Don't know if there's bikes in it, but we watched the TV show. There should be, because that's kind of one of the themes, is they ride around on their bikes. You know, the character that disappears in the first season is on his bike when he disappears. And so it kind of goes back to that, you know, that time when kids were, you know, roaming around in packs on their bikes, which is basically how we both grew up. And so we love that. All right. And that is our bike list. All right. So what do you think of that theme? Let us know what games you would pick. Yeah, let us know what other games there are that have bikes in them. There's not a lot of bike themed games, but I feel like there's bikes in more games that we just weren't thinking of. Yeah, we just couldn't think of them all. So yeah. All right. So our last theme is something directly from Jimmy, our commenter and subscriber, and this is kind of clever and a little bit silly, but it's May, so it's the month of Maytenance. And so games, this would be good for games that have a lot of maintenance, whether that's a maintenance phase that it could be part of the game, or it could be something where it's just a lot of maintenance. You got a lot of things to do between turns or between rounds, or maybe you have a lot of setup, stuff like that. Yeah, but you still love them. These are games that are worth the maintenance in them. So do you want to start us off on that? Yeah, the first pick that we had, because we played this card game a fair amount, and it's got a lot of maintenance, and that is Morels. And Morels, the biggest thing in Morels, now there is a circular layout that sort of avoids this, but the biggest thing is you have these 8 cards in a row, and they're constantly shifting. So you draft a card, shift all 8 cards. Draft a card, shift all 8 cards. Draft a card, shift all 8 cards. So it's constant. End of the round? shipped all 8 cards.
It's a fun little game, perhaps a little luck heavy, but it's that's what I say because I lose all the time. So
well, we like the theme, and the art is lovely, and it's light and easy to get to the table. The maintenance during it can be, you know, a little much, but yeah. So our second game is one that we abso-freaking-lutely love. Love, 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 love. We've played both the Legacy version. We're actually just starting a Legacy campaign, and the regular, and that is Aeon's End. Yep. And the setup for this game is brutal. And it's brutal. I know that they tried to fix that with Astronites. Yeah. Still not as good.
But it wasn't as good. It was... No. Well, they changed how the deck building worked and stuff like that.
I didn't like
affected
that
it
at all.
I think a negative way.
Hated that part. So it's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth a setup. Sometimes we'll set it up and we'll leave it set up for a couple of days because it is a bear. But even so, as soon as you switch bad guys, you've got to recreate the bad guy deck, and that's a process. As soon as your market changes, you've got to reset the market, and that's a process. It's all a process. And we just started the most recent Legacy version, and the first game, there was actually quite a bit of like extra stuff in it that I'm not sure it actually needed, but it's rolling along now, and we love the game. No matter how much work it is to set it up, we will always play this.
So our next choice is a game called Founders of Gloomhaven. Now this is a very, very heavy game.
Love, love, love.
And it's a polyomino game. So a big part of the maintenance is just dealing with all the polyominoes. There's a ton of them. We had to get an organizer for it because it's just really hard to deal with them. So it's a bit fiddly.
Yeah.
Is really where the maintenance comes from, is the fiddliness.
Well, actually the scoring too.
The scoring as well.
And that's the other thing. That, to me, that's why... In my head, that's kind of why this is in there, is that whenever you score, it's a whole thing, right? It's like spreadsheet the game. I kind of let Jane do it, but I love the mechanism. It's so clever. So, you know, if you have, if you want to make jewels, first you have to mine the materials and then refine them, and then maybe get some metal to go with it, and at the end make them. And so there's this whole like chain of factories you build, and when you score something, the scoring flows downhill, uphill, backwards.
It throws through the chain of production. And I love this game for its positive interaction, because, you know, I may want to build this item, right? But it requires your metal building. And so I use your metal building, but I got to pay you.
Yep.
So it's kind of, I like how that works.
Yeah. And it's like the item that you built might get you, let's just say 10 coins. I get 2 because, you know, you had to use my metalworks for it. But figuring that all out with just the 2 of us is a bit much. I can't imagine if there were like 4 people and you were trying to, okay, wait, who owned that? Who owned that? There's a lot to it. But this is really one of my top 100 games, and I love it, even, and possibly because of that super clever mechanism.
The next game in our list is a very fiddly game because it has a lot of parts, and you have to sort those parts, and you have to, you know, deal with those parts, and that's Factory Funner. Factory Funner is a really fun game. You're building these kind of cool little pipe systems, and it's pretty nifty, but it's also very fiddly and very high maintenance.
Yes, sorting out those parts, and yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. But also very fun. So next on our list is Pandemic, which kind of gets you coming and going. First of all, you have to build the Pandemic deck, which is a process. So setting it up is not super quick, which means like playing a couple in a row can be tedious. But then also during the game, when you trigger a pandemic and you have to do a reset of the deck.
Epidemic or epidemic?
Yeah. The whole reset of the deck is more fiddly than just shuffling it, right? Because you've got to keep the cards that have already come out separate from the ones that haven't come out, because those are definitely going to come out again. And it's just a little bit extra that make it, you know.
It's not the worst game, but it's got a little bit of that maintenance in there.
Yeah, and it's not super intuitive either. You have to kind of know what you're doing and think about it, and it takes a couple of plays before you kind of remember how to do that reset phase in the middle of the game.
And then there's our favorite kind of maintenance from our favorite designers, Stefan Feld and Uwe Rosenberg. They like to do this thing where you have to pay stuff. And so we picked Agricola for this from Uwe. And it's a good example of this because you have to feed your family.
Yeah.
And so that's a maintenance thing, you know?
It is maintenance. So, at the end of every round, you have to you know, maintain what you have. And that means paying something. There's a lot of games that use this mechanism. Uwe is, of course, the classic. Everybody feed your family, right? You got to make sure you have enough food to feed your family. And if you don't, you get punished hard. You get hit really hard. So the whole round is also not just building, but thinking about maintenance phase.
Yep.
And it's
planning
brutal.
for it. Yeah, you got to prepare for it.
But that's one of the reasons we love the game.
It's true. Feast for Odin's got it.
Yes.
Yeah, so those are our 3 themes for May. You may have other holidays in May. What other holidays would you want to focus on for a theme day? But also, for the themes that we picked, or the ones that you would pick, what games would you pick?
And finally, if you have suggestions for June, let us know.
Yep. Remember,
every day that you game
is a holiday.